dog people, Amy from Spunky Dogs here, and today we discuss how a long line can make or break your off-leash training game. Firstly, I want to preface this video by saying that if you regularly walk your dog on a long line or retractable leash and you're happy with your walking situation, then power on. This video is probably not for you. If, however, you wish your dog paid more attention to you on leash, or if your dog is inattentive or less than responsive off leash, then this video might be right up your alley. And that's because a long line can be one of the most safe and powerful tools to teach your dog off-leash skills, and also to assess what your dog would do off-leash, but not if you use it to physically control your dog, like you would a leash. But first, quickly, why I use a long line, and even use it with dogs who have some pretty solid off-leash skills. Firstly, just to obey leash laws, and to let other dog owners around me know that I have no intention of letting my dog run up to theirs. Then also when working with dogs who have some issues, who might lunge out at a bicycle, or bark at someone and scare them, or who I'm not completely comfortable with and don't know that well. And also for dogs that have really high prey drive that might chase after a bunny rabbit. And lastly, just so that I can relax and not have to worry about physically grabbing my dog should something pop out of the bushes. But firstly, before you begin, here are some tips on how to tell if your dog is ready for off-leash training. And first, before you snap on that long line, you'll want to make sure your dog has already had some training. Because the key to the long line is to act like your dog is actually off-leash. So your dog should at least know how to respond to its name, you should know how to get your dog's attention and motivate it, and your dog should have at least some basic obedience skills before you even consider off-leash training with a long line. Then, before that first session, you'll want to make sure your dog is warmed up a little and is past that first few hallelujah, I'm outside moments. Then you'll want to pick an area with good visibility and few distractions. No blind turns nearby where a dog or person can pop up and surprise you. You should be able to see and hear things coming from a long ways off. You also similarly want to pick a relatively low traffic area with few distractions. So now if you've done some previous training, your dog's gotten their yahoos out a little, and you've picked a good location, it's time to switch to the long line. Attach your long line, remove the leash, and toss it aside. Then let your dog have as much line as they want to do whatever they want. And there you'll need to ask yourself some questions. What does my dog do when they have the freedom to move away from me? Do they stay with me? Do they look at me? Do they pay no attention to me whatsoever? Do they run for the hills? Also, how much distance are you comfortable with your dog being away from you? A little bit, or way out of sight and then coming back? Then, can I get my dog's attention? And if I do, can I keep my dog's attention? And do I have to get it, or do they offer to engage with me? If my dog gets a hold of a toy, do they bring it back to me, or do they just run away with it? And then this is a really big one. Can I catch my dog? If I reach for my dog and grab them, are they okay with that? Do they try to juke me? Can I get close to my dog and touch them when I want to, or do they stay just out of reach the entire time? And if I pull out the regular walking leash and come after them, is that a signal for them to approach, or do they book it away from me? And after only a few seconds of doing this, you'll have a pretty good idea of what you need to work on. If your dog immediately and completely disengages from you, or you have to keep asking for your dog's attention to get it, then you probably want to go back to some basics before you try the long line again. If your dog is like Binky, the dog in this video here, and your dog continuously engages with you without even asking, and rarely or never hits the end of the long line, you're off to a great start. And most dogs, like the dog in this video, have to be taught how to offer and engage with you when off leash. It does not come naturally. The world is a pretty exciting place. Most dogs have to have quite a bit of attention, motivation, and engagement work before they can begin off-leash training.